It is 5:17, so we're going to go ahead and begin with the public hearing for our 25-26 consolidated budget. And at this time, this will be a public hearing that will be conducted for the purpose of affording the public an opportunity to voice opinions on consideration being given to adopt the general fund and special revenue budgets for the 25-26 school year. So, hearing is in session. Do we need to roll call over? District 1, District 2, present. District 3, District 4, present. District 5, present. District 6, present. District 7, and District 8, present. We have 5 board members present, and that means a quorum.
Sit down. Dr. Butler. Okay. For the general fund budget this year, we talked numerous times and discussed some of the situations that we were facing this year. The special revenue funds, of course, are funds that are expenditure driven. So basically what comes in goes out. So we're going to look at our budget that we have planned for the 25-26 year, and we're going to take into consideration that this is an unusual year. We're making plans to balance our budget this year, which currently it is not balanced, so steps will have to be taken to actually balance it. This is our target budget to balance for the year, which is not your typical, as I mentioned. I'm going to direct you to the budget letter, which is what I handed out. That seems so loud. Of course, for the budget year, this is your hearing, and we're going to ask you to take action on the budget at the actual board meeting, which we will convene at 5:30. The Madison Parish School Board is, from what I understand from everyone, about one of the third largest employees in the parish, and we have approximately 250 plus full-time employees. Our targeted budget general fund column revenues for the year are set at $11,391,228, and total budgeted expenditures $12,856,333, with net transfers of approximately $1,569,458. Now, you can understand these numbers will change as we move forward into the year, and we'll do budget revisions to accommodate all those changes. That the actual anticipated excess for the year in the general fund, $104,253. We're basically starting the year with a zero fund balance, which we're going to get into some detail in a minute. Special revenue funds are typically received, as I said, they're expenditure driven. We have budgeted $5,309,595, expenditures of $4,993,116, net transfers of $87,658, with a year-end fund balance expected of about $2,487,233. Of course, in this special revenue is the school lunch fund, and the basic balance is attributable to school lunch. Okay. The general funds represent educational activities. They're accounted for in the general fund column. They're also supported by local taxes. Special revenue funds, they're legally restricted. Debt service and capital project funds, we're not required to budget, so there's no budget included for those amounts. So budget guidance for the year. The salary estimates are based on the expected dollar amount necessary to equitably balance the 25-26 general fund within the anticipated revenues. So you're targeting the expenditures for salaries based on what we have coming in. We have a slightly reduced percentage for teachers' retirement of 20.95%, which is down from 21.51% and 24.25%. A reduced percentage for school employees' retirement to 22%, which is down from 25.8%. Then we have a decrease in MFP funding due to the current student count of 1,078 students, which includes 60 students at Christian Acres, and that is down from 1,128 students from the previous year. We've gotten word that there are planned increases for insurance, health insurance for employees, which, as I understand it, will be equally borne by the employer and the employee. We're waiting to get those numbers. It's estimated at this point to be approximately 7%. Actually, there are meetings kind of across the state starting tomorrow, so I'll be updating you along as we go. There should be a slight reduction in transportation costs due to the consolidation of schools. And then we do have anticipated additional revenue if we roll forward of $63,873. Some of the concerns for the budget, which are many things that we've already talked about previously in meetings, but things I might point out today, is that we need to accomplish the necessary realignment of expenditures to more equally correspond with the generated revenues while we attempt to gradually build our fund balance. Salary-related benefits, which are almost 80% of your entire budget, they must be the major focus. They are the major focus due to the necessity for reductions in overstaffing for the 24-25 school year. Employees were added during ESSER grant funding, but were not terminated when the funding was eliminated. This overstaffing, top-end salaries, and payment of stipends beyond funding allowances depleted limited fund balance from previous years. The loss of 50 students for this year is also very concerning, particularly because we seem to have a history of decline. The base per pupil cost is $4,015 per student or the allotment through MFP. And that's going to get us at about a $200,750 mark for this year in a reduction in revenue. Okay. This budget was prepared considering those items that I just named. So in your packet, you have a copy, looks like this, got a little bit of kind of orange on the top. Several pages kind of stapled together there. You know, So the first section, the first couple of pages, has to do with general fund are funds that are included in the general fund column in the AFR, okay? We report them separately. You'll see across the top, the first column is the general fund, which is unrestricted. Then you'll see the sales tax local fund 3, which is for employee salaries. It's the sales tax that we pay salaries out of. And then also, this year, I'm going to break out. In prior years, we've had, or last year, we had certificated and support pay increases, a stipend from the state, and we got depreciated compensation. Last year, that was grouped into the general fund, which is okay, but we actually have to do reporting on it to the state. So we started a new fund for each of those, so we'll be able to keep up with it and know exactly what's happening with those dollars, and then we'll be ready to report to the state whenever that happens. So we'll look at the general fund column first. We're projecting a revenue of $9,548,461, with expenditures of $11,013,566. Have an anticipated, and that's a deficit of $1.4 million, with an anticipated transfer in of $1.5. That number is going to change because we've had some changes since then. Also, when we get to the federal program revenues, you'll see that the carryover budgets are not dropped into that, but that number is strictly indirect cost. And I'll be reporting that to you as we go along so we can kind of keep up with the indirect costs and see what we're getting as we move through the year. There's going to be quite a change because we got ESSER for at least half the year last year. We got some indirect costs there, and it was at a high rate, which is not the normal rate that we get the indirect costs on. So then, with that being said, we're projecting $104,253,000 excess in the general fund. Again, let me just reiterate that that is including changes that we're planning to make with salary. We'll find out about midweek this week where we are with September payroll. And at that time, we'll see what the RIA has reduced the salaries by, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll see what we need to do to move forward. Okay? And again, I'll be keeping you abreast of that as we know more things, and also through the finance committee. Okay? The second column, which is sales tax, you have $1.3 million coming in. You have expenditures throughout all the programs for $1.3 million. So basically, you have no excess budgeted there. It's basically salaries coming in and then paid out in salaries and benefits. Okay? The certificated and support staff stipends is going to be $454,433. That has come into the account. It hasn't been transferred over, but it has recently come in. That will be paid out in stipends to support and degree employees. That will be based upon the directions that's provided by the State Department of Education. They give very explicit details on who should be paid for that. There are few grants that will be able to pick up stipends for their employees that are excluded from what the state has said, kindergarten, for instance, but their grants can pick up those folks. So we'll be looking at that. I'm going to give you more detail. That stipend is planned to be paid out October 31st. We're going to get our first salary expenditures out of the way in September, look at where we're at, spend some time to get that corrected, roll into October, have that payroll done, be able to do a comparison, look at that before we move the water with anything else, and then October 31st, we're going to pay out the stipends to employees. The next column is depreciated compensation. It's $37,268. We also have that that's been put into our depository account and has not been put into the fund yet, but we do have it and have received it, and that is paid out according to a depreciated compensation plan which I'm not sure exactly what last year's was, but we'll look at that and try to determine that, look with the superintendent and see what needs to be done with that. Okay, so in the general fund column currently, we're projecting $104,253 excess. Typically in a year, you might have one or two budget revisions. This year, look for quite a few, because as we move along, we're going to go ahead and take steps to do what we need to do to reflect what's happening, that way we keep you better informed on the details of what's going on. All right, the next group of funds for your special revenue budgets. Again, I'll mention the carryovers, that have not been dropped into these funds yet. This was the beginning budgets for these funds. These funds will grow once those carryovers are finalized and put in. When you look at the first four columns, you'll see that they are special revenue funds, but they are not in the Super Act. We've talked about that a lot. We've talked about it just since we've been working with you about what goes on with the Super Act, how that works. Christy's given us a breakdown and details about that. You'll see that those next grouping of funds are all in the Super Act. They're labeled so you can see that. And then toward the end, you'll see there's statutory pay, and then there's some federal funds at the end. So let's look at that. Let's particularly talk about student lunch, because we've had a lot of talk about that. We're expecting about 1.2 million in revenues for the year, 1.136 as expenditures, an excess of about 103,000. Then we have some transfers in, which brings that up to 403,000. And the beginning fund balance of 1.9, year-end fund balance, ending balance of $2,315,045. Okay. The next column is your sales tax maintenance, and that comes in. You pay maintenance out of it, $675,000. We're expecting an excess of about $12,000, but you actually have an excess currently of $79,120. So a ending fund balance of $91,549. Then we have two health management funds. We're still kind of working through those to be sure what items come in as revenue and what goes out as expenditures. We're working on that. We'll be getting with the people that are involved in those funds in the next few weeks and get that cleaned up. But currently, we're projecting we have an ending fund balance of $45,000 and $47,000 respectively, and we're projecting about $32,000 and $47,000. The rest of the funds, as you can see, are part of the Super Act. Basically, the revenues coming in or also going out as expenditures or as indirect costs to general funds. I'm not going to go over those in detail, but feel free if you have a question to ask me today or later. When we have our finance committee meetings and when we have these board meetings, we'll be talking about, in more detail as we go along. Possibly sometimes we'll be talking about one or the other to be sure that you know the details about what's happening with all the funds. You might be tired of hearing me, but I want to be sure that you're informed about what's going on in Madison Parish. Then the last two pages is a summary of everything that I've gone over. The first section, which was the general fund section, the second section, which was the special revenue section, is spelled out in just a separate column to summarize that. And then there's a total consolidated budget, which is required that we do that. So your total consolidated budget at this time is total revenues of $16,700,000 with expenditures of $17,849,000, which is a deficit of $1.1 million. You have transfers in of a total of 1.6, and that coupled with any excess leaves you at a consolidated ending fund balance of $2,591,483. Y'all have any questions?
debt service. So these are some, how we're paying back these loans and stuff that we're,
Correct.
that's not gonna be, so that,
That is not in this
so
budget.
when people hear like, we're gonna have a $2 million surplus, that's really encumbered, that we're gonna have to be paying some of this back.
Correct. Now, again, this is, the biggest part of your fund balance that's left, the $2 million, it belongs to school launch.
Yeah.
It's not general fund, it's not those special revenue funds, the biggest part of it is school launch. There's a few amounts in various funds which I spelled out to you, but, the bulk of it is school launch.
Is there on our sales tax that we get in December?
Yes.
That's how long from last year to December of last year to now, have we just asked this question to the business manager. How much of calculated came in the last 9 months? Do y'all have that figure?
No, we do not.
Concord, your parish have?
That's correct. Well, I mean, they can give us a monthly amount of what's coming in. We actually are working on getting those numbers, but I don't think we've gotten them yet.
Can you check with him?
Yes. There is some research that we're going to do on the sales tax. We've been approached with a few questions about it, so we're going to be working on the sales tax a little bit down the road. Once we get some of these other things settled out, and then we'll report that back to you also.
Thank you.
Y'all have any other questions?
Mr. President, I'm asked for public comment input.
Yeah, any public comment? Any public comment?
Ms. Finley, anything else you prefer us to do?
No, I think that's it.
We can get a motion to put it on.
You can proceed, you can transition on into the school board meeting.
Okay. We gotta get a motion to do that. Okay.
You can get a motion to close the public hearing.
I get a motion to close.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Can I get a second? Then moved by, Board Crawford and second by Board Member Humphrey. That we, close the public hearing. All in favor?
Any questions?
Any questions? No questions? You want me to do a roll call or just say?
I think that's.
All in favor, say aye. Do you, because it's my first time, do you ask, do a motion to stop and get ready to go into the first meeting?
No, sir. You can strike the gavel and say, we're calling the meeting of the school board to order, do like you always do.
Okay. It's 5:30. We call the regular board member, we can call in to the regular session for regular school board meeting. I'll call it to order, and now we do the invitation. Let's bow here for silent prayer. Amen. Faith to be.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, I don't know if you want to do it now. My prayer and my mind, I think that we should let another president, you would wait until, that you won't wait until we get all this stuff taken care of. But I have started working again, and I'm tired. I'm gonna be honest with you all. And whatever favor y'all want to do, I want to go back to my regular role, board member. And what I want us to finish, what we got to finish with this farm commission and all this. And then we come and whatever y'all want to do it, you said it. And I thank God, I thank this board. But there's other things I have to take care of. So, I've been a president doing this, you know. So, whenever the board decide how they want to do it, it's fine. I don't want to be nothing but a regular board member. It's time to say, whatever way you all guys want to do it, it's okay with me.
Well, I feel like you just finish the board meeting out, and then on the next agenda, that way you already been put in motion
Okay.
everything that you need to do, and then next board meeting, we can go from there.
The next board meeting, we'll have an item on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Thank you. Roll call board member. District 1. District 2.
Present.
District 3 present. District 4. District 5.
Present.
District 6. District 7. District 8.
Present.
1 absent. Item 8.
Mr. President, I believe Ms. Finley has some action we need to take relative to item K, perhaps remove it from the document, from the agenda. We need to recognize her to address that issue.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some advertising, which also has to go to the media. So we just need to discuss and have the board be aware that we're about to start the advertising for the resolution, for the roll forward, so we can adopt the resolutions following advertising for 30 days.
Ms. Finley, do you want to leave it on the agenda, but as a discussion only, or do we even need to discuss it further?
I don't think so. We've already discussed it to the point that we know we want to do it, so.
Can I get a motion to delete item K? Yeah, you want to just delete item K
And item L.
and item L?
Yes. So we just got this one over here for the county, before we vote on it, so we need item L too.
So, Dr. Board Member Hamilton, make one motion to delete item L also. How do you do your coaches? You wait until we approve the budget and then we pay them back pay?
Well, they have a certain amount of kid on their position, then it will be calculated into their budget going forward.
Mr. President, I think that's, if we're talking money, I think Ms. Finley ought to be asked to address it.
I think that, and I've been approached about those, I think this week was the first that everyone had the opportunity to see any of that, and we wanted to move it to the next month so we can have more discussion, and then include it on the agenda for next month.
Motion to delete item K and item A. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we delete item K and L. L to be moved to next month's agenda.
Then moved by Board Member Hamilton, second by Board Member Patterson, that we delete item K and item A. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. President, I need to ask for public.
Any questions? No questions, gentlemen. All in favor, say aye. Item B, item A, Dr. General.
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda, eliminate X, K and L.
I second it.
Moved by Board Member Hamilton, who's second? Ms. Crawford. And second by Ms. Crawford, that we, accept the agenda, but we delete in K and A. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Item B, consider approval the 24-25 final divide consolidation budget. Thank you.
As I mentioned to you earlier, we're still working on the 24-25, making some adjustments, trying to get it cleaned up in the audit. Also to get an AFR submitted, which we anticipate doing prior to the September 30th deadline, and then we'll have through the end of the next month, October 31st, to make any corrections. So we're moving right along. This is a consolidated actual. It's just like the consolidated budget that we talked earlier. This is a summary of the general fund column, revenues of $11,780,003, expenditures of $15,443,000, and then that was an excess of $3,663. There were transfers in for indirect costs and from other funds to make up that difference, and that's leaving the general fund with basically a zero balance. Special revenue funds, again, that is $7.6 million revenues, expenditures of $7,041,000, an excess of $569,993, then indirect costs of $472,000, which got an excess of $97,532. Fund balance at the beginning of the year, 1.9 for an ending fund balance of 2.83, which gives a consolidated balance of the same number. Thereby, general fund has no balance there in that column.
Ms. Debbie, when you get ready to do this budget, that we'll consolidate, salaries gonna be in the budget.
Yes, sir. Salaries are in there.
Can I, hope the rest of the board won't, so we don't run into any problem. We have a salary scale, and you know, our salary scale been out of date, unadjusted for almost 30 years. Before I approve a budget, I want to see the salary scale, and the salary, because every time we approve a budget, they'll tell us we approve the budget, and then we approve it, and the salary in there, then we go back and look at our salary scale, and that salary is $50,000, but we approve the budget of $80,000. her salary. So before I approve the budget, ever again, I want to make sure I look at our salary scale that we know we got to fix. So we won't have these confusion that we've been having, saying somebody did that. So please, can you get that?
Let's just cut to the chase on that. Okay, first thing that we're gonna do this year, business department's been working together, we're working toward cleaning up the September payroll. Everybody's on board, we're working on it, we're trying to get that together. We plan to go out to see, go out to each of the schools, visit with the staff there, have a little, meeting with everyone, explain to them that not only are we trying to watch every dollar that they're due at the central office, but we want them to. Every employee's gonna have their own salary scale that's been adopted by the board. They're gonna see what their pay is supposed to be every month. We're gonna ask them, please watch your salary. This is what you should be receiving every month. If there is any deviation from that amount, please come see us. If we're not paying you enough, we want to correct that and you should pay correctly. And if we're paying you too much, please come back and do that. Because when we find it's an error and we have to correct it, then that means you got too much first of the year, you're not gonna get as much at the end of the year. Because law says you're doing what you're doing, but you're not doing more than that. So, we want employees on board, we want them to know what they're getting, we want to meet with them, we want to talk with them, we want to develop a relationship and some trust. So that's our first step. But I will say that we will be looking again, the finance committee, the board, at the salary scales. There may be some changes to salary scales coming forward. We've got lots of work to do, and I promise you, you're going to see probably more than you want to see from me. But that's the only way I know how to do it, because I want you informed, and that's my goal. And my goal is to get this budget balance, to get us in better shape, to build a fund balance, to do the most that I can do without damaging the education. That's our mission here. I will be ever mindful of that mission.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and anytime anybody's got questions, please come see me, because I love to talk about school business, because it's my life.
Thank you.
Any questions about the actual budget?
Any discussion from the board? Any discussions from the audience? From the public?
Mr. President, do we have a formal motion to accept, adopt the budget?
Ready? Can I get a motion? Ms. Allen?
I move that we adopt the budget as given us tonight, consolidated actual.
Ms. Allen?
Second.
Been moved by Board Member Alvarez. Who second? Board Member, and second by Board Member Fletcher. All in favor, say aye.
Let's ask for public comment.
Again?
Yes, yes.
Any public comment? Ain't we getting the same thing? All right.
Then let's go ahead and vote again, so.
Vote again.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I did. Consider item C. Consider adopt the 2025-2026 consolidation budget and budget resolution. That goes back to,
What I presented earlier
we did it all
in the
together?
budget hearing.
We should, okay. Can I get any, discussion from the board?
And just to be clear, in that budget, we'll be going back to the salary scale for salaries and these overages of extra stipends and stuff will be on.
Absolutely.
Any discussion from the audience? Now I'm asking for a motion.
I make a motion that we, adopt the 25-26 consolidated budget and the budget resolution.
Moved by Ms. Crawford, second by Board Member Hamilton. Any more questions from the audience? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Approve the bill, item D, approve the bills for payment.
I'll just comment that Ms. Sims has provided these bills to me. We reviewed them, discussed them, and I do approve that we can make these payments this month.
Make a motion to approve the bill for payment. Oh,
Humphrey, second.
It's been moved by Board Member Hamilton, seconded by Board Member Cutcher. Hargrave. And, question from the audience. No questions? All in favor, say aye. Item E, approve the minutes of Financial Insurance Committee meeting, August 14, 2025, and regular board member meeting, August 18, 2025.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the Finance and Insurance Committee meeting for August 14th and the regular board meeting August 18th. Second.
Been moved by Ms. Crawford. Second by Ms. Cutcher. Any questions? All in favor? Consider a motion to approve the item F, revised policy. You want me to go through all of them, John?
No, sir, but I would like to make a comment. As part of your handouts that I gave you tonight is a memo from me discussing the student handbook, which is actually the next item on the agenda. I figured I could kill two birds with one stone. If the board adopts these policies tonight, some of which impact student discipline, those will be incorporated into the student handbook that you receive next month. So just wanted to let you know that, so.
Do you want me to do the motion just separate and do it, you say two?
No, sir, the next item is not an action item, it's just an update.
Okay.
But since it's germane to this item, I thought I'd go ahead and share that we, as part of this.
Any discussion? Can I get a motion? Approve item F.
I make a motion to approve the following revised policies, and they're listed down here. It's 7 of them.
Been-
second.
Been moved by Board Member Crawford, second by Board Member Hamilton, that we approve item F. Any questions from the audience? All in favor? Aye.
Dr. Butler, could you advise forethought that these have been approved?
Yes.
So do we have to do item G, since you said?
No, sir.
Okay. Item H, consider MOU with Southern University, A.M. College dual enrollment. You know anything about that?
Yes, Mr. Lovett, actually got this together. So dual enrollment is when kids can actually take college courses, by going to the university, a little bit cheaper than, some of the other, universities.
Any discussion, board members? Make a motion.
Approve the, let's consider this, Southern University, dual enrollment.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience? All in favor, say aye. Item I, consider advertising surplus item to bid for sale. John?
Yes, I wanted just to advise the board that since our last meeting, we had asked for a little more detail on that, and we're going to have to run that ad again. When we looked, there was an end date as to when bids should be submitted. There wasn't any notices when the bids would be open, so there was just a lack of information that was needed there, so we're going to do that. In visiting this Finley, there were a couple of items also that did not appear to fall in the category of surplus. That was not any of the school equipment or anything like that. This was culverts and other things of that nature. So I just want to let the board, you've already voted to approve this to be done. So we're just, I guess this is as much of an information item that we're coming back. We're going to, our firm is going to personally handle the ad that goes into the paper, and we'll make sure that it complies with everything that needs to be in there. So this is much of an information item as anything.
Will we need board action in October for this?
No.
Okay. We've already done it.
Yes, sir. Y'all already done it. You authorized the ad to be placed, but we just haven't got the ad in there that it needs to be. So we're going to resubmit it. We're going to work with the journal to make sure it actually gets published the way it needs to be.
So we don't have to do anything with it?
No.
Okay. I still ask questions. Discussion?
Absolutely. And this is been you.
I had somebody ask me about the, playground equipment at Tallulah Elementary. What are we gonna do with that? Is that just not surplus, I don't get it.
Of course, it's a board decision, but we would like it to be out there for the community. Community use the playground, after school, on holidays. We talked to John mentioned, putting some type of label out there saying, save your own risk, locking it up if we choose to. That would be a decision for the board to make if you want to sell that equipment. Now, just let you know, by selling the equipment, you're not going to get too much on it. It's got to be taken down, transferred over to wherever they are. So, again, it'll be up to the board to decide that and to see the value of the equipment.
Yeah, I think leaving that to community use is a nice idea, but I think what's the word I want to use? What it could do to us financially may not be a good idea if somebody gets hurt.
I could discuss with Dr. Butler that it's my understanding that the equipment has been on the playground forever.
Some of it has.
It is not, it really is a risk, and we have insurance for that. I would recommend if it stays there, that we put a sign up that says that your children aren't being supervised and they're playing at their own risk. But it does ultimately become a decision at the court. Do we want to get rid of the surplus, do we want to leave it there for the community? That is a board decision.
That was a good decision, what you just said. Dr. Butler, can we put something up saying that they planted their own risk?
And please understand, that's not a silver bullet. That is better than having nothing.
Right. But John, I'm curious on how many you already. And I think we have maintained elementary and two levels. I think we should have a time out of a certain time. If it, before dark, it should be out or whatever. But we should keep something for our kids because I see a lot of kids go over there and I like that suggestion. And if we can do that, that would be fine with me, with the agree?
Can we do this when it's out there on the agenda?
No, it will need to be on the agenda. I put it on there in October.
Okay.
Okay.
I got you on every list though.
So let me summarize. We're gonna work with this spending, and we're going to get that ad, and there will need to be surplus that you already approved. We're gonna run the ad, I will update you and email you a copy of it, to let you know what's going on.
Any more discussion from John? Any discussions from the audience?
Question. Attorney Knight,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you say about the culverts and the reinforcement law?
Yes, ma'am. There was a couple of items down at the bottom of that list that really weren't surplus, used, expended stuff. Usually when we talk about surplus, we think of things that have already used up their useful life. These are actually things that were newer but unused. And so, in talking with Ms. Finley, we thought that those perhaps could be marketed in a better way to get more money in other fashion. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're not going to advertise for those?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we do have someone that's interested in those. I had the discussion with Ms. Finley today.
Okay. We will work them. Is it another public entity or is it?
It's a company from Monroe.
Okay. And we will, and if we have someone that's interested in that, we'll look at all available legal means of selling them. The whole purpose here is to be able to maximize the amount of money that we can get from it.
And I think you'll maximize your money with, selling it to them.
Yes, ma'am. We'll take a look at that. Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Item J, adopt revenues received food for revenues participation note, random government short-term bond. It's been, you got it.
I'll take this.
I thought it was,
My name is Wes Shaffer, the Old Shaffer, we wrote, public finance sponsors. This is a resolution, it's requested by the fiscal administrator, it's basically a budgetary revenue anticipation note. This borrowing is not to exceed $2.5 million, but we may borrow that much. And not to exceed 5 years, so it's a relatively short-term revenue anticipation note. It anticipates future revenues and it allows the family to cover the current expenses and operating costs during the next fiscal year and beyond. It will be repaid over a period of 5 years. If anybody has any questions on that, once this is approved, we'll go to the state bond commission. In the meantime, we'll try to get a local bank to approve this budget bank to purchase these bonds that make the loan for the school.
And Wes, correct me if I'm wrong, but, the way that will be done is we won't have to take that whole entire amount, we'll get it as we need it, is that correct?
Well, that's why, we will put that in our current sheet to the bank. Some banks like to love the whole amount, you know. The only reason I would say that would not be the case is if we can't find a bank to do it. Normally, most local banks will work with the school boards. I've done several like this, and basically do it as a non-revolving line of credit. When you borrow it and as you need it, and only pay for what you need. So we're just approving the parameters to be approved by the bond commission.
And then we'll go down and we'll meet with the bond commission and explain why.
October, correct.
Do you know the date in October already?
Thursday. Exactly.
Because you said third
Thursday.
Thursday.
Typically at 10 a.m. Unless there's special session, I don't think we're going to do one. It's at the Capitol, the bottom of the Capitol building.
Fourth, third.
Thursday.
October 16th, and you said usually at 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock. We do it at Capitol at the bottom of the coffee shop, committee meeting rooms, it's usually there. And I'll be there.
And I might mention to you also, you know, of course, we know the need for this, it's basically to make payroll until we start getting millage taxes. But we have about $1 million in invoices that we've not paid, that we're gonna have to start paying. Of course, those will be brought to you at the time that we do that, but we've been holding off because we have not had the money to pay them. But once we, actually do this, we'll come in and pay that, and, also it'll help us make payroll until we get millage again. Of course, in the meantime, we're gonna be working on those salaries and benefits to get that reduced to the point that, we can cover that with our MFP.
I would just want to tell you, it's gonna be hard to find a bank to loan us money.
What was your question, Ms.
Oh,
Harvey?
yeah. You asking me a question?
I said it's going to be hard to find a bank to loan the school board money.
Oh,
You're in a rural area. Yeah. They want collateral for every dollar.
yeah, this, like I said, there are banks, I believe, that we'll find some, we'll work
I
on
hope
it.
so. Good luck.
We pray. We hope
You don't have
that,
any connection.
yeah, but we pray, because we need it.
Yeah, I'll start with the fiscal agent bank, and then we'll go, I've dealt with a lot of banks, some in this situation, and I'm confident we'll eventually find a bank.
Any more discussions from the board? Any discussions from the audience?
What was the total amount?
Not to exceed 2.5 million.
Thank you.
What's your say,
Max
total?
amount. 2.5. That's a maximum, that's a parameter, it's the maximum amount that we're gonna have to borrow. We just get, everything we do has to get approved from the state bond commission. So we want to get maximum parameters approved, so we don't have to go all the way back and start the process all over. That's all we're doing.
Any more questions from the audience?
And you brought that resolution with you,
Yes.
Mark? Okay.
Who do I give it to fill out?
Could you make a motion for it? And is it in your
There. No.
No, it does not have to be read.
There was a question of how we're supposed to pay it back, and correct me if I'm explaining this wrong. It's like, this is revenue anticipation, what we're anticipating getting. So one of those forms we see in is like that, when we have a surplus of $2 million, it's gonna have to go pay back. So when people hear, like, we'll have $2 million surplus, they have to understand, we are in debt, and it's gonna take several years before that $2 million surplus is to stay in Madison Parish. Am I explaining it correctly?
And as I understand it from Wes, the first year we'll basically just pay interest. We'll just pay interest. And then we'll move forward from there depending on, where we are financially. That's why he's gonna try to get, a 5-year commitment from the bank. We'll still have to go to the bond commission every year. But, if the bank commits 5 years, then we've got that commitment from them too. Did I say that right, Wes?
Yeah, that's basically correct. We're gonna get a 5-year, approval time parameter, but the bond commission up in this situation before with the hospital district, they're gonna want you to come back every year and report. That's usually typically a condition.
So for members of the public, when we as individuals want money, we just go directly to a bank and we take out a loan. When a public body such as the school board needs to take money, it has additional oversight through the bond commission. So Mr. Shafto here is going to present to the bond commission next month our need and hopefully get advance approval so that we can get this money so it'll be available as needed.
Correct. So the bond commission will approve which it's a state committee consisting of basically the governor's office, the legislative officers, and it's a separate administration within the Treasury Department of the state. It has to approve all public offerings, including this.
Did you want to say something, Tim?
I just make a couple of comments about the amount. We've kind of kicked around, we don't have hard numbers, I guess, to some extent, is what's amount to the union board and so forth, but we're kind of going on, I guess, kind of Debbie and I have kicked around, come up with that, we're setting the maximum at $2.5 million. As she mentioned, she's got about $1 million worth of bills that need to be paid, so that would leave basically $1.5 million. The payroll, there's been some projections of payroll, but you really don't know how much payroll and how much savings in payroll we're going to have. And as Debbie mentioned, it's 80% of our expenses are payroll and related benefits. Once that payroll is going to run here this week, then we'll have a much better idea of what the payroll cost is and how we're looking at for us this year. We've got a reduction. This year, our MFP is down from last year. We've had a drop in students last year. We're now projecting we'll have another 50 or so students drop this year. That's going to impact your revenues. And so we got to take that into account. We had, we kind of think about it, we had about $5 million in grants that we had last year from ESSER funds that we don't have this year. I think that's going to be painful in that you just don't have those grants. They also kicked off a lot of indirect costs that you may be used for just your home cover overhead, et cetera. We're not going to have that. So, just kind of looking at it, I think, when we first started out, we wouldn't say anything close to $2.5 million, but I think that may not be too high of a number, and so that's how we kind of came up with $2.5 million. That's going to be painful to repay it in a 5-year period. As Debbie was mentioning, and has been talked about here tonight, that we're going to pay interest for the first year. Well, that's 8.5% is the maximum that we got in the agreement. In the resolution, it does cost 8.5%. We're going to have $212,000 on $2.5 million, $2.5 million. And so we've got $212,000 we'll have to be paying the first year, and then to repay this over a total of a 5-year period, meaning we're going to pay interest the first year, we're going to pay principal interest enough to pay it off over the next 40 years, so the total term of it is a 5-year period. I think that was monthly payments are $661,000 a month, so we're looking at basically about $740,000 on an annual basis as a repayment. That's how it's coming out of our regular revenue to pay that, and so we just got a challenge going forward. So anyway, we think $2.5 million is a high number, but and hopefully we don't have to go all the way that high. But we just, I guess, if we're going to request approval from the Line Commission, we need to set a maximum things for the may need, and so that we don't have to go back and bump up the amounts. They have to approve the legislative auditor's office, and I guess Attorney General's office has to approve all on this to say they're agreeing with it. And so they probably look favorable if we have to come back and keep increasing the amount. So anyway, that's how we're going to $2.5 million, and also give you a little bit of insight as to what the annual payments are going to be on that going forward.
Can the interest drop if the interest drops, like the loan interest will drop? Some loans, like
Yeah,
property loan will do that.
The 8.5, just like the principal amount and the cost of the seed amount.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can, as a taxable rate, I'm hoping that we can get at least the first year tax exempt. That's under the IRS code guidelines for public offering. Public entities are allowed to borrow tax exempt under certain circumstances. Budgetary loans, you can do one for a few months, and it's I'm hoping this first year we can get it tax exempt a little bit, at least significantly lower.
I think you can.
Yeah.
Interest
I'll come back and get an increase, but, yeah, so it just depends on that. rank their floating options and, you know, that can float but not to exceed 8.5%. So we'll do our best. If you got 8.5% as the max parameters, I hope we get lower.
Any more questions from the board or the audience?
I have a question.
Okay.
We got ourselves in this mess that we didn't even know we were in. We were not given the correct things that were going on. And I've been on this board for 10 years, and I've never seen it this mess. Never. Now, I don't see how we're gonna recoup all this. We're losing students. I think we're gonna have to deplete our faculty some more. Now, that's my opinion. I know I just have an opinion like everybody else. But that's a lot of money to try to recoup on what we bring in. Really upsets me.
Very upsetting, particularly when you consider some of these things is just purely the grant requests were not filed. It weren't filed, they're not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I know.
But I think once Debbie gets to the payroll registered fund this week, then she'll have a good idea as to what the payroll is going to be. And that would then tell us we kind of know what the revenues are. There's not a lot of figuring on that needs to be done. So once she gets those payroll registers and sees what the payroll is, then that, it just kind of comes out where it looks good at that point, and then there's nothing left for it to be done. If it's done, and then she and some others might roll up their sleeves and come to have to look to the 80% of your cost is payroll and benefits. That's the place you gotta look.
This is the first time this board has been given this information when y'all came back on board. I mean, we have never been given this information. We never knew that we were in the shape we're in. They just kept spending money like it was growing on that tree out there. I've never seen the likes of it. If I did that at my own home budget, they'd have me in the jail somewhere. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Debbie, when you came up before us and you had everything came in late, highlighted, showing us in a specific way how it's supposed to be done, this board would have known if we'd have had this from the beginning of where we stand. And you all are coming in and y'all got a hard task. Whoever the president, you got a hard task. This board got a hard task. These people are gone. It's us now. Got to try to fix it for if we here or not here. Because the last thing I want to see is we have no school and we have no system. But when warning signals is telling you stuff and you refuse to listen to it, then it's put us in this situation. And we in a, and everybody knows, it's just been the grace of God that you all came in this board, that these people are being paid every month. You can't look at it and point fingers at whoever it was. Them people gone. It's us now. And we're going to have to fix it or don't fix it. And I pray to God that we fix it. And we trusting in God that they find it. And I understand how Ms. Hargrave feels. I feel. Because when you are saying you causing confusion because you ask questions, and my question couldn't have been wrong because we're going to try to get $2 million to pay these folks. Keep this system up. So what's behind me, we need to press forward to our higher calling to try to get this mess fixed. And I believe we can, because y'all done kept us aboard, because every month, how we gonna make payroll, God made a way. And I truly believe with God, how they feel about me, I truly believe that God will make a way for us. Because we did not do this. When you don't tell the truth, people believe anything. But what you couldn't tell us no story here because I could read it all. And you're showing us where we at. This is what we should have got. If we was in bad shape, they should have told us. If we was in great shape, they should have told us. So I'm going to do my best till I'm off this board is to try to make sure and do the best to try to put our kids back. It's not impossible. I don't believe it's not impossible. If we come together in unity, we can bring our children back. I done checked on education in other schools. They are no better. They do not have no more qualified teachers than us. I have saw it. Yeah. They do not have no better qualification than what we have. But from our people who work for us, they got to work with us. We don't take kids out of our own system. And then you ask for us to make it. Thank you.
Well, I make a motion that we adopt a resolution to seek approval for the ready and anticipation age.
Been moved by Ms. Crawford, seconded by Ms. Hamilton, that we do approve, with that item, item J. Any questions from the audience? And this here, roll call. District 1. District 2.
Yes.
District 3, yes. District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
District 7. District 8. 7 yeses
Yes.
and one absent.
Yeah, just for the record, that was the 2.5 meeting, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. John, we on item M. Do we just we go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the regular session and go into executive session?
No, sir, but I would recommend that we allow the superintendent to go ahead and make his report so that members of the audience are waiting for that. Then when we come back from the executive session, that will be the last thing we do.
Okay.
Yeah, the superintendent report is just the personnel report, we have right here due to, the employees that were, either resigned or, laid off. So that's the personnel report that we have. That's it.
Mr. Shapto, would you like me to bring the signed resolutions back to my office?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Or alternatively, we can have them signed right here if you'd like to take them with you.
Okay. I can, if you want to just finish the meeting without having work, I'll go ahead, if you don't mind bringing it back.
No, sir. So, Mr. President, the next item would be the executive session. If you take a roll call vote on the executive session, that'll be the last item.
Do we come from regular session and go into the executive session?
Well, we'll entertain a motion now to go into executive session. We'll then complete that. We'll come back into open session, take any action that will be needed.
Can I get a motion that we go into the executive session?
I move that we go into executive session.
I'll second it.
Moved by Ms. Hargrave, seconded by Ms. Crawford.
I'd get a roll call vote on that, but first I ask if there's
Any questions out in the audience? Roll call vote. District 1. District 2.
Yes.
District 3, yes. District 4.
Yes.
District 5. District 6. District 7.
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.